Are you going to come off the raspberries and look at me?
It's not all about you, you know.
I just wondered how long you were going to just be looking at the raspberries.
Can we try and make this one under 15 minutes today?
Yes, okay. Well, do you know what? I'm making tea time treat for Mr. Hackett. Because we have a quiz this evening, don't we? We have a Zoom quiz with friends. So I thought, cup of tea, slice of cake, we're going to win. We's going to win. So do you know what I'm making? Raspberry and coconut cake.
Well, I guess that you're going to be doing something with raspberries.
You know, this is a lovely cake, and actually I've had a few people ask me for this because they've had it in the past from me when I had a cafe many moons ago, and I used to make this a lot in the cafe, and so people have said to me, oh goodness me, will you make me the raspberry and coconut cake? So that's what I'm doing. I'm doing it. So in here, sore hand. I haven't mentioned I've got a sore wrist, have I? No. Hurts.
The
anyway,
last film we did,
I know,
you mentioned your
I just
wrist.
mentioned all the time. So basically I've got in here butter. I've got 150 grams of butter, I've got 150 grams of sugar, 50 of which is light brown muscovado, the other 100 is caster sugar, and I'm going to beat this, okay? Or we could just go to cut, and then you beat it and come back and I'm looking lovely with beaten butter. Thank you, sweetheart. Look at that, it's beautifully beaten. Pale and thick and light, just like me. No, I thought I'd put it down my front. And for that, cup of tea for himself to say thank you.
Yeah.
There you go. Oh, I got to put it down because you're holding the thing. Okay, there we go. Right, so beaten beautifully. Now, got to beat in 3 medium eggs, 2 large eggs. All right, that goes into 1. Beat it, beat it, beat it, beat it, beat it, beat it. So what I'm going to do on top of this cake, we've obviously got the coconut and the raspberries going on the side, but on top, I'm going to do, and I've done it before, I did it with my Bakewell, is a lovely fresh raspberry drizzle icing on top, and then a little bit more coconut, and maybe a couple of 5 raspberries from our raspberry bush, which I've saved in the fridge, especially to go on top, because we're ever so proud of our raspberry bush, aren't we? Raspberry bush or roseberry, raspberry. A bit early. I haven't really been on the gym, not yet. There is time. Although I'm never allowed one before 6 o'clock.
Quite right too.
Yeah. Right, sneak them in occasionally. I have been known to put the clock forward. During lockdown. Desperate measures. Okay, so keep beating these in. It looks like it's a bit sloppy and a bit separated. Oh, do you know what? I just don't worry about it. You know, I've done so many cakes in my life. The odd one just does this. It's still going to taste lovely. I know, ideally, if you do it all in a food whizzer thing, you know, great. Takes all the grunt out of it, doesn't it? That's what's so good about them. But we're doing it by hand so you can see it. And so there's not like loud noises all the time. Okay. Right, so now I'm going to add 100 grams of self-raising flour. Oh, I just realised I got the plain flour out. That's a bit dippy. Cut. You've got to go and get the self-raising.
You sure you haven't been on the gym?
I don't know. Just sometimes I do worry. Right. I don't know why now I can't see anything because I've got my glasses and I'm gonna. Right, that's grams. Right, I'm on grams, it's all gonna be okay. Put my dish in, and I'm gonna do 0 again, 0 again, 0 again. Thank you.
Remember what I said about being under 15 minutes?
Oh, you'll get there, be fine. Be fine, I'll rush through this bit. This bit's a bit dull anyway. You could sieve it if you want to, or you could just put it straight in. It's kind of vaguely sieved by me doing this. So 100 grams of the self-raising, and then we're going to do 50 grams of coconut shards. Now, if you desiccated coconut is ideal. We don't have any, but we do have these sort of pieces of lovely flakes of coconut. So I just gave them a whiz or chopped them down by hand, and they're sort of in slightly smaller flakes. So 50 grams of that goes in. And because I've got slightly less of the self-raising flour, I'm just going to do a little woozly bit And a woozly bit is a technical term for a minute amount, okay? A minute amount is a woozly bit of baking powder, okay? Woozly amount, remember that. That's under 1/4 teaspoon. That's what a woozly amount is. There we go. Put this all in now. Give it a fold, and then I'm going to turn it into my cake tin. So you don't need to see, so we can cut this bit, you see now, because I'm not sure it all. I'm going to pour it in there. You can cut, and then I'll show you the next bit. So just spread your mixture into a lined cake tin. No idea how big this is. I'll let you know. Cut it square. Could be round one if you want to do. You could even do a loaf tin. Okay, so there's no real hard and fast rule on the cake tin side of things. Now, raspberries. Instead of mixing it into the mix, I'm just going to lay them on the top, and then I'm going to pop them in. So this is a really good opportunity, John, to show off your time-lapse technique. Into the oven, half an hour, 180. See you in a minute. A very fresh icing, so I thought I'd just make it while the cake was in the oven. And you just take some raspberries and you sieve them, okay? So you get this lovely puree coming out of it. And that puree you add icing sugar to. And you just make an icing with it. So you've got that lovely fresh raspberry tang, but you've got the colour as well, without any additions of food colouring. And it's just a lovely way to top the cake. And I'm not going to completely cover it. It's going to be more of a sort of a drizzle. So I'm not going to add a lot of sugar to this, because it is, you know, if I put too much in, it just makes the whole cake too sweet as well. So the secret is to just make sure you get it all out. Don't waste any, because even though you think, oh look, I've got most of it, you can bet there'll be a little bit more to come out. So persevere. Make sure you get lots and lots of raspberry puree out, and when you do, like that, in the bottom of your bowl, oh, it tastes lovely. Just pop in some icing sugar. So just a little bit as you go, because as I said, this is a drizzle, this isn't a thick icing. So I think I'm going to give it a couple more of these, and that should probably be enough. And then also, I'm going to top the cake with some little toasted almond flakes. Okay, so I just toasted those in, did you get that? So yeah, in a pan, there's nothing else in it, and then just a few other little raspberries as well. So I think it look really pretty, but we'll do all of that when it comes out of the oven, obviously.
What are you doing?
I'm drizzling. Well, I'm not actually, I'm stabbing, and then I'm going to drizzle. So I'm just making little holes with my stabby thing, and then I'm going to coat this lovely cake with the raspberry icing. Do you think this smells nice?
It smells delicious.
Doesn't it?
Mm.
Coconut, oh, it's just so good. Really is such a lovely cake. Okay, so it's beautifully cooked. It took about 25 minutes, half an hour, didn't it, in the end? So just take some of the drizzle, just lay it over the top and let it go down those little holes. So that raspberry just drips all the way through in the centre of the cake, much like a lemon drizzle cake. This is pretty similar. So as I said, it's not going to be an icing that just, you know, this bright pink sits on top nice and solid. This is a drizzle, this is a drippy icing. You've got all that lovely intensity of flavour of those raspberries. Plus, of course, obviously the raspberries in the coconut cake as well. This is still quite warm because it's only just come out of the oven, and that's the time to do it as well. So when the cake is warm, that's when you drizzle. You just need to take it out the tin, off the paper, and lay it on a cooling rack. Try not to flip it out onto the cooling rack, because the top bit is the bit that was at the top of the cake. That's the bit when you can see the raspberries that I want at the top. If you flip it out, you get that little griddy mark, don't you, on top of it? So I'm trying to avoid that. Well, I have avoided that by sort of slipping it out of the cake tin. Oh, this is lovely. Now, the final touch is just a bit of this toasted coconut, okay? That goes over the top as well. So that's the coconut leftover little shards, which I just heated up in a pan really quickly. And remember, you have to be very careful, because the moment your nuts burn, it's too late, isn't it, John?
Yeah, we don't want burnt nuts.
No, you don't want burnt nuts. Terrible. And then these are the little raspberries that we have off our bush. So I've saved those for the top, and I've just cut them in half. I'm just going to put them on the top, not in any particular way, not exactly a haphazard way. And if I really wanted to right now, I could put some rose petals on as well, but it means I'd have to go out and we'd have to cut the film, and it'll be longer, and then I'd be told off. Anyway, there you go. God, that looks fabulous, doesn't it? Now go in for the close-up, sir. Please, thank you. Go close up to me, to me. Look at that shiny, dripping cake. Right. Now is the time that I dig in. So I'm just going to cut to the middle. Now, ideally, guys, don't do this when it's boiling hot, as I say every time. It's always better to have your cake not boiling hot. But there we go. Look at that. Steam coming off it. But I'm just going to try a bit anyway, because it's just so important that I do. Oh God, it's so lovely. And I say it's fruity, tangy, beautiful, coconutty, soft, sweet, bouncy cake. That raspberry on top just makes it. I mean, yes, you do have the raspberries for the cake, but having that sharpness on top as well just finishes it off. God, it's a corker, this cake. I'm really pleased with this. Now, give it a go. Send me some pictures, because some of you have been doing that, so I really love. In the meantime, quiz night, cup of tea, some of that. What do you say, Mr. Hackett? Yeah? Yeah? You want to vocalise that? No, he doesn't. Oh, that's great, isn't it? Grateful.